know if you've noticed, but there's a lot of money in this world. Like, money is not a finite resource. Money is not only available to certain people, and like there's not this circumstance, this set of circumstances where if someone has, someone can't. Money's not scarce. If you really pay attention to the economic system, the more people earn, the more we create of money. Money is there's this story and there's this belief that money doesn't grow on trees, and it does. Money actually does grow on trees. It used to be paper, it used to be gold, used to be paper, but numbers just come out of nowhere, and it just keeps building, it just keeps growing. But there's a lot of folks in the world that live in this fear-based, scarcity-based, not enough to go around. You got to take from some people to have for yourself, and if you take from somebody, then you're robbing them of their lifeblood. And man, some people that are broke will try to convince everybody else that the rich are greedy and evil, and there's no such thing as freaking financial scarcity on this planet. There are people who know how to make money, and there are people who don't know how to make money. And that the people who know how to make money know that no matter how much they make, the Fed keeps printing it, and the world it just keeps going. There's no lack of money in this world. If you took all of the money in this world and divided it equally among the 8 billion people that are on the planet, in a matter of 5 to 10 years, it would all be, but maybe even less, it would all be back to the people who are holding the wealth right now, because those are the people with money mindsets, with heart sets that are able to create that wealth and that abundance. Now, that holds true for a lot of things. And today is not just about money. Well, money's a part of this, but it's not just about money. Today, I want to talk about living the life of your dreams and what that would look like. So let's go back to my roots. For the first 43 years of my life, and if you've listened to this podcast for any sustained period of time, you've heard this story again, but it bears, and it's worth repeating because it really does set the tone for everything. For the first 43 years of my life, I lived in this fear-based, scarcity-based struggle mentality that convinced me that I had to get up and go someplace I didn't want to go, to do something I didn't want to do, to work for somebody I didn't want to work for. And man, my life was miserable, because if you really pay attention, you're most people, and I'll say I know I was one of them. Most people build life around their business or life around their career instead of their career around their life, or their business around their life. And I was one of those people. And the reason I did that is because I was taught by people who did that was the way it was supposed to be. And it's just it just wasn't true. It was only true for me because first of all, I was taught it, but second of all, it's because I believed what I was taught, and I put it into motion. I put it into action. And today I work with a lot of really successful entrepreneurs, and I also work with people that have made the transition from the corporate hustle, into entrepreneurism, and that made that leap. And I also have had the pleasure and the privilege of working with people and seeing people that are in a corporate hustle or in a corporate setting, and they want to make that transition. They want to make that leap. They're operating in a career field, in a profession, in a vocation, in a business, in a professional capacity that they don't love, and they're not brave enough to make that jump into doing what lights their soul on fire. And the thing I do at a pretty spectacular level is I help people create wealth, success, and freedom and happiness doing what they love. I help people get really, really rich doing what they love. And if you look around the planet, first of all, there's plenty of money. And that's why I started with money, because money always pulls people in. but you can literally monetize anything in this world. Now, a couple episodes ago, I did an episode on a Japanese concept called Ikigai. And Ikigai is it's a word, it's a Japanese word for a reason to be, a reason for being. And it's basically like it's a reason for your life. It's the purpose of your life. It's what will help you wake up every day excited about your life and excited about the life that you get to live. And to get out of regret or not wanting to get out of bed. It's bypassing all of that and building a life so fulfilling, building a life of such inspiration that there's never a lack of motivation or energy or enthusiasm to get out of bed. But if you look at the population, I would say at least, maybe not more, maybe more, 95% of the population is operating out of survival mode, going places they don't want to go, doing things they don't want to do, serving in ways they don't want to serve, all because they're afraid to take the leap. They're scared. They're fighting for survival, and they're just trying to keep what they have together. And I call this survival mode. And there's a very small segment of the population, and I mean small, 5% max, that have time freedom, financial freedom, love what they do, love the act and the art of creation. Don't live out of obligation, but live out of inspiration. Don't feel beholden to a certain path in life, but know that they can create anything they want in their life. They can do anything they want in this life. They can monetize anything they want in this life. And these people have created, I get to work with them. They've built sometimes 5 businesses, and they're building a 6th, or they stepped out of a corporate setting. They stepped out of a vocation that they didn't love. They started a business that they absolutely are head over heels in love with. And they made one business successful. So now they're starting a second one, not out of obligation, not out of fear, not out of insecurity, inadequacy, insignificance, but strictly out of inspiration, because they want to, not because they have to. A very small segment of the population wakes up excited every day about the life that they get to live, and embrace everything on their calendar, and embrace every aspect of their health and their wealth and their relationships and how they impact the world, how they make a difference. It's not a very large portion of the population. And this is why most people hate Mondays and love Fridays and look forward to vacations and negotiate 50-cent pay raises, because they're living out of survival mode. They're not living in creation mode. They're so tied to security that they're giving up freedom. That is literally their, man, it was their birthright. They're just disavowed from it. Now, I made this transition when I was 43 years old. And when I got fired from my second 6-figure position, my second executive level position in about 20 months. And again, after a long run in corporate, a long successful run in corporate, after a successful run in the Marine Corps, when I lost that second executive level position in 20 months, I tried to get back into corporate. I tried to get back into the corporate game because that's the only thing I knew. And I thought that's the way it was supposed to be. You go to work for somebody you don't want to work for. You do things you don't want to do. You wake up when you don't want to wake up. And you do it so that you have a steady paycheck, and because somebody else needs to pay for my benefits. And I lived in that game until I decided that I was finished with that chapter in my life. And I literally, for years, I had been wanting to start a business. And I literally walked upstairs and told my wife, I'm not going back to corporate. I'm not going to get a job. I'm going to start a business. And she was like, the fuck you are. You're going to go get a job. We need benefits. And I did not have the approval of my wife. She lived in that same mindset that somebody else needed to pay for our benefits and that we needed a job in order to be okay. And I was at that point, I was done with the corporate game. Got fired once, went back, and then had another 15 months of misery. And when I got fired a second time, I knew that chapter was over, tried to get back, but I started a business. And in my first year of business, it was about my first half year. I didn't even have a full half year. I made a couple of like $35,000. But in my second full year in business, I exceeded any level of corporate income that, including benefits, that I had ever achieved in corporate. My first full year in business for myself. And this business has grown since then. It has grown a lot since then. And we don't have a lot of overhead, and we don't have a big team supporting us. This business has created financial freedom and time freedom, and it's given me the ability to wake up and do what I want to do, be who I want to be, say what I want to say yes when I want to say yes, and no when I want to say no. It's given me a reason to freaking wake up every single day. And that's all I ever wanted when I was in corporate. My wife and I, years ago, we put together a vision, and we do this with all of our students. You can go to the website, go to innerwealthglobal.com, and on the front page, you can connect with the Choose Your Destiny Full Vision video course. Get into that and create a vision for your life, because if you don't know where you're going, you can't get there. We created a vision, and we created a vision that we wanted to travel a lot. And in 2023, we went to the mountains, we went to the beach, we went to the desert, we went to Europe, we went to Mexico. We traveled the whole year long. It's like every single month we were traveling somewhere. And this was the vision that we cast for our life years ago. And we have the means, we have the financial means, we have the time means, we have everything that we need to live life, the life of our dreams, the life that we dreamed of years ago, the life, if you go back to 2016, when it all fell apart, we didn't even know was possible. And listen, when you make that transition, when you finally make that transition from a life of obligation or desperation to a life of inspiration, you really see why life is worth living. You finally have a reason to be. Now, there's three reasons. There's three reasons why people wouldn't make that shift from doing something that they don't want to do to serving in a way that they don't want to serve, and staying in a place or a position or a role or a career or a vocation, doing something, showing up in a way that doesn't light their soul on fire. There's three primary reasons. And today I want to tell you what those reasons are. And the reason I'm doing this isn't so that I just talk. It's maybe this will connect some deeply inside of you, and maybe you'll experience something that you're ready to experience, feel something you're ready to feel. Maybe you'll make a decision that you've been ready to make because you have some new sense of clarity. But those three reasons start with, you're just scared. The number one reason why someone doesn't make a jump from serving out of obligation and desperation, from survival mode into creation mode, is because they're just flat out scared and they're afraid of losing it all. I talk consistently about the four voices that are inside of you speaking at any given time. And at least one of these voices are speaking. Sometimes two and three voices are speaking inside of you at the same time. But those voices, the three painful voices of survival mode, are insecurity, inadequacy, and insignificance. Insecurity is fear of loss. I'm afraid of losing it all. I'm afraid if I make the jump from corporate or from one position into another, from some duty or obligation or desperate choice that I've made into this thing that I want to do, into this career field, into this business, into entrepreneurship, that if I actually took the leap, I would be afraid that I would lose it all. That's insecurity. It's fear. It's false. These are false stories. These are false impulses that are inside of you. Number 2 is inadequacy. I'm not good enough. And number 3 is insignificance. I don't matter. Like, that's not available to me. There's something wrong with me. And that level just of pure, unadulterated internal fear, if you're living in states of insecurity, inadequacy, and insignificance, you're going to stay stuck and you're going to survive all the way until you die. I could take this even a step farther and saying there are some people who have started the business of their dreams, but just won't make offers or won't ask for money or won't show up or won't speak their voice or won't negotiate or won't raise their prices, all because of fear. Because you won't just show up and do the things that are required in order to make your financial wherewithal matter. Your financial circumstances have the margin that you need, the freedom that you need to be able to make money a non-issue. Fear absolutely paralyzes most human beings, and that's why Mondays suck and Fridays are great. Because they're so scared of doing what they love. They're so scared of monetizing what they love. They're so scared of losing it all. They're so scared and paralyzed that they just rather settle for a mediocre life of survival rather than a fulfilling life of just, I don't know, pure inspiration. And Ikigai is what happens when you take what you love, what you're great at, what the world needs, and what you monetize, what people are willing to pay for, and put them all together and make that jump. But most people are so scared they won't make that jump. They find what other people tell them that they should do, and they do it. Fear will paralyze you. And instead of trying to find freedom from the fear, find freedom in the fear and make the jump anyway. The number 2 reason is that you just don't trust yourself. For whatever reason, you feel there's something wrong with you, and you've stopped trusting in your own capabilities. You've stopped trusting in your own ability to respond to circumstances. You've stopped trusting yourself that you matter. You've stopped trusting yourself that you can handle any outcome or circumstances. You've stopped trusting yourself that if you made the leap and there was some uncertainty, that you'd be able to handle the uncertainty. Trust plays a big factor. Trust in yourself plays a huge factor in living a life of wealth and success and freedom. If you don't trust yourself, you're going to stay stuck in places you don't want to be and doing things you don't want to do because you don't believe in yourself. You stopped believing in yourself. And I don't know one wealthy and successful person that has time freedom and financial freedom that doesn't believe in themselves. So maybe it's just fear. Maybe you're paralyzed by fear. And maybe you just don't trust yourself. But there's one more. And this, for me, this one has been the most enlightening. This has been the most liberating. This has been the most freeing piece of this whole 7-year journey that I've been on, from showing up and doing shit I hated to waking up every day fired up about the life I get to live, to serve in the way that I knew I was always built for. This has been the most eye-opening. And it's that I didn't trust life, and now I do trust life. And from all the fear-mongering, and from all the settling, and from all the compromising, and from all the mediocrity that I see in the world, most people don't trust life either. Now, what I mean by this is, as soon as I got on my natural path, and trust me, you have a natural path. You might be trying to force yourself into somebody else's path. Like I'm surrounded by real estate people. And I don't know, if you're in a room with real estate people for long enough, they'll eventually convince you that you should be doing real estate, that it's the only way to really get wealthy. I love real estate people, but holy shit, real estate investors are like, there's a lot of them that live out of obligation, that aren't lit up by their life. They're only lit up by the outcome. They dread the action because they say they love the outcome, but then when they get the outcome, they're not satisfied either. Because the thing you want won't solve the problem you have. But if you're in a room with real estate investors long enough, they'll eventually convince you that you need to be doing real estate investing, or there's something wrong with you. Like there's only one path in life. But this is the case with most groups. If you're around any singularly minded group for long enough, they'll convince you ultimately that there's only one way to do the thing, whatever that thing is. You're around enough direct marketers, they'll tell you that's the only pathway to freedom. Like it's almost freaking delusional. And listen, there are many, many ways to create wealth and to be successful and to create freedom in your life, especially when you reach a genius level and there's something that you're naturally gifted at. You, the listener, I'm talking to you. There's something you're so naturally gifted at that if you started doing it, the world and life would respond in a way to help you understand that you're on your correct path and you're in your zone of genius. And I'm not talking to everybody but you. I'm talking to you too. And this is why, as soon as I got on my path, as soon as I started speaking my voice, as soon as I started developing people and developing teams, only as soon as I started sharing messages of hope and inspiration and motivation, of authenticity, life gave me everything I needed to become successful. Because life rewards those people who get on their natural path. Life, you can call it God, you can call it universe. I don't give a fuck what you call it. It doesn't matter to me. But you will be rewarded when you are on your natural path. But if you're meeting with extreme levels of resistance, if you aren't excited about what you're doing every day, if you don't get excited about the next day, if you don't get excited if your alarm goes off and you're not excited about your day, you're not on your natural path. If you're not inspired what you get to do every day, you're not on your natural path. If you don't feel joy from doing the thing that you're doing, you're not on your natural path. If things don't unfold naturally for you with effort, if things don't unfold for you, you're not on your natural path. Because when you do get on your natural path, you will enjoy it. You'll be inspired by it. You'll love doing it. You'll get great results at it. And you will be handsomely rewarded for it. Because everybody has genius and everybody has a natural path. And you are no exception to the rule. And there are extremely wealthy and successful people right now that are not unhappy or that are unhappy because they're not on their natural path and they know it. And that's why those people call me when they're in the darkness, because they thought the money and the success was going to cure their desperation and their survival mechanisms that were firing off in their mind and body. And Ikigai says, just find what you love to do, what you're great at, what the world needs, what the world will pay you for. You'll never have to work another day in your life. Doesn't mean it won't require work. Doesn't mean it won't require effort. It doesn't mean it won't require your energy. And it doesn't mean that it won't require you to learn what you need to learn to achieve that level of genius. What it means is that you'll enjoy the journey just as much as you'll enjoy the destination. And you'll live for the journey, and the destination will just be like the cherry on top of the sundae. Fear, lack of trust in self, and lack of trust in life. There's only one or more of those three reasons why you're not in your zone of genius and on your natural path right now, and why you're doing things you'd rather not do. But as soon as you find your genius, as soon as you find your natural path, watch how richly you are rewarded. And it only happens every single time. Listen, my friend, you only have 80 to 90 years of this life to live. Settling or showing up and giving any second or minute of your life away to doing something you'd rather not do just doesn't make sense. You get 80 to 90 years, and this universe is 14 billion years old. Your life is so minuscule that if you're not enjoying every second, if you're not having the time of your life, you're doing it all wrong. Make a change today. Flip that switch. Understand that the fear is not going away, but do it anyway. Understand that the trust in yourself might not be there right now, but as you take inspired action, it will grow. And watch when you get on your natural path, and watch when you demonstrate your natural genius. You watch how much life wants for you what you want for yourself. Make that shift today, because that's when you'll, instead of trying not to die, that's when you'll finally start living.